So, honey, what are we talking about this week?
Pre-ride checklists.
Okay.
Does anybody actually do them?
Nope.
So let's be real here. Most people don't do a pre-ride checklist.
Nope.
Okay, so we know that, and that's reality. So what is important?
Most important thing is your tires. They come into the shop all the time, less than 20 pounds. Bikes that have traveled 1,000 miles to get to us. Tires that are almost bald, no pressure, not very good on a motorcycle when you only have two of them.
So we got ourselves a tire here.
Yep.
What would we be looking at?
Tread depth, which is the amount of available water shedding tread. That's why you have tread, is when you're going down the road and ride through water, this makes it go away instead of hydroplane. You need to make sure you measure your depth. It needs to be at least 330 seconds.
Oh, whoa. Okay, let's see that tool again. Does this fancy tool have a name?
This is a machinist scale, or a ruler in basic terms, that measures in 30 seconds of an inch. So your tire, depending on what it is, front or rear, starts anywhere between 4 and 8 30 seconds. In the rears, they're sometimes up to 10 30 seconds. Tread depth, that's how much wear you have. So you need to check, make sure you have enough tread depth. Industry standard is 330 seconds on motorcycle tires. Need to check and make sure they look relatively smooth. When they've been run low on pressure, these points will get low and high, and that's called cupping, and that will cause handling problems. Next thing you need to check is pressure. Everybody's tires are low. I've serviced thousands of bikes, and I can count on probably these two hands how many had proper tire pressure. Nice gauge, good pen gauge, cheap pen gauge. Whatever it is, know where it's at. Start with a good gauge at home, know where it shows on your cheap gauge so it checks out the same. But simply check your pressure. .38, little low, should be at 40. I keep mine at 40 and 40.
So if I wanted to check my brakes, what I would do, well, what I think I would do, because honestly I haven't done it, I would just, tap my brakes and hold my brakes and see if they work. Does that make sense?
If you don't know what you're looking at or for, when you leave your driveway, before you get to the corner, make sure that when you hit your brakes, they both work and they don't make any weird noises.
So checking your lights is pretty important. It's an easy one. Turn your ignition switch on, give it a visual, start in the front, then move to the back, just making sure that everything is working. You can also set your blinker. Again, just checking to make sure it functions. Keep in mind, that's how you're seen and that's what's keeping you safe. So you want to make sure that those around you can see you and you're highly visible. What's next?
Check your oil level. Simply pull your dipstick out, check where the level's at. It's a little low right now, but it's cold. When it warms up, it'll raise up to about here, which is perfect. You don't want it all the way to the top. Harleys will puke out anything they don't want, and they don't like to be overfilled.
Any other fluids that we should think of?
On most Harleys, the transmission and the primary, unless you've seen a leak, no, you don't need to check those. Modern bikes that have radiators, you can pop the cover, you can see your overflow tank, check and make sure the level's good there. Again, unless you're having a leak, not really critical. Engine oil, No, won't necessarily see a leak, but some motors will burn some. If you know your bike goes through a little bit of oil between changes, make sure you keep up on it.
So next step is securing the items on your bike. So Greg generally does come home on this bike and he does carry quite a few things here in the back. He will come home, take out his items. As you can see, he has some stuff in it right now, and leave this unlocked. So making sure before you take off that you do lock everything and secure anything that is on the bike that could potentially come off. That includes little bags like these. This one is actually Velcroed on, but you want to make sure that before you take off, you do a visual inspection, walk around your bike, see what might be loose, what potentially could be falling off. For example, this, not good. You want to make sure everything is tucked away and secured on your bike before you leave. So here's some bonus pointers that I feel are super important when you think about jumping on your bike and going for a ride. Actually, some of them are a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. One big one for me is understanding how much gas you have in your tank before you leave. And also, how far can you get on the tank of gas? It drives me absolutely crazy when you go on rides with other people and you ask them, so how soon do you think you're gonna need to stop? And they give you that blank stare. You should know how much gas your gas tank holds and how far you can get on it. That's super important. That is riding 101 for sure. So we said we were gonna keep it real. So that pre-ride check, which maybe takes 3 to 5 minutes, will be totally worth your safety. I know for myself, it's, again, that added time, but we just got to factor that in. So please consider doing those. They're very important. Stay safe. Stay with us. Give us a like. And thanks again for joining us today.